There are 16 seconds of video from Joe Biden's announcement yesterday about the ceasefire deal between Israel and Gaza that have been taken by some to mean it is Trump who is responsible for this deal. It is the incoming administration of Trump and the transition team that we can thank for this ceasefire deal between Israel and Gaza. And right on cue, as predicted, Donald Trump taking to Truth Social and saying in all capital letters, quote, "We have a deal for the hostages in the Middle East. They will be released shortly. Thank you." And then subsequently, with another post on Truth Social, fleshing out the delusions a bit by saying, quote, "The epic ceasefire agreement could have only happened as a result of our historic victory in November, as it signaled to the entire world that my capital A administration would seek capital P peace and negotiate deals to ensure the safety of all Americans and our allies. I am thrilled American and Israeli hostages will be returning home to be reunited with their families and loved ones. With this deal in place, my national security team, through the efforts of Special Envoy to the Middle East, Steve Witkoff, will continue to work closely with Israel and our allies to make sure Gaza never again becomes a terrorist safe haven. We will continue promoting peace through strength throughout the region as we build upon the momentum of this ceasefire to further expand the historic Abraham Accords. This is only the beginning of great things to come for America and indeed the world. We have achieved so much without even being in the White House. Just imagine all of the wonderful things that will happen when I return to the White House and my administration is fully confirmed so they can secure more capital V victories for the United States." Lauren Boebert, Trump lapdog extraordinaire, jumping on this bandwagon as well, putting out an excretion on X. "Hamas has approved a ceasefire hostage agreement. President Trump's strong leadership is already making the world a safer place." Of course, he's not the president. But much of this, I mean, listen, they would have thanked Trump regardless, but part of it is this 16-second clip of Biden that's doing it.
I'd also note this deal was developed and negotiated under my administration, but its terms will be implemented for the most part by the next administration. In these past few days, we've been speaking as one team. I'd also note.
Okay. Let's just be very frank about the degree to which Trump may have played a role here and the degree to which he very much did not. Trump wasn't there for the months and months and months of negotiations. Recently, what Biden says is that a transition team member was in the loop about what was going on. And it is, of course, absolutely true that it will be up to the Trump administration to replace the Biden administration in this negotiating role during the implementation phase. That is absolutely clear. Beyond that, we have no reason whatsoever to believe that the Trump transition team or anybody affiliated with Trump played a role. That being said, I am not going to try to hide the reality that there seemed to be a motivation for right-wing Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to try to time this, to shift it closer to Donald Trump. Like Trump, Netanyahu is a sort of authoritarian wannabe who wants like-minded allies and has a thirst for power and control, in particular over the Middle East. And we know from reporting that this Trump-Netanyahu conversation that took place after Trump became president-elect included the sort of understanding that everybody would prefer that they can figure out a way for Trump to get credit. Now, that doesn't mean Trump did anything. It just means that Trump and Netanyahu together seem to say it would be better for our ambitions and our thirst for power and control to try to time this thing so that we can sort of push more of it towards Trump and away from Joe Biden. That is undeniable because of the reporting that we have. But from from the standpoint of the actual negotiation, the Qatari and other mediators and everything else, the idea that this is Trump's doing is completely without evidence. The question as we transition now from Biden to Trump, as we will do just, let me think, 24, 48, 70, like 96 hours from now, 100 hours remain in the Biden presidency, roughly. The question as we transition is whether the deal will continue, whether it will be abided by, or whether it will implode and fall apart. Let me know what you think. info@davidpakman.com. Once again, Donald Trump's cabinet picks are all about loyalty over expertise. Election denier Kari Lake to lead Voice of America, the government-funded broadcaster meant to report unbiased news. Ground News found hundreds of articles covering this story, which is an app I've trusted for years to help me critically analyze the news I consume. Our sponsor, Ground News, doesn't tell you what to think. They show you each news outlet's biases, credibility, financial incentives, so you know who's benefiting from the spin they put on each story. You can even filter out certain sources you don't want, so you can stay informed without getting buried in the noise. Trump is shaping our future in ways that will last decades. And if we're not paying attention, we will allow history to repeat itself. So stay engaged with Ground News, who is fixing what is breaking right in front of us, the trust and transparency in the media. Ground News is giving my audience 50% off the same Vantage plan that I use. Go to ground.news/Pakman. The link is in the description, or scan my QR code.